Right, team, in this video, we're talking about one thing: how to attract and grow a social media audience of hyper fans that makes scaling to 7 figures per year with a microeducation business more effortless than ever before. I don't know about you, but this past year, we've seen a glimpse of the future with the first tidal wave of AI-generated shite flooding the social media platforms. I mean, sure, it's funny to see a couple of clips of Sam Altman getting punched or falling down some stairs, all courtesy of his own video generation software, Sora, but this has become a massive issue for folks like you and me who have to fight against this tidal wave of shit to make sure that we're able to get our services in front of our perfect future clients so we can help them get the transformation that we know that we can help them get. And with the rising cost of advertising and the increasing competition to get attention, it's becoming clear that if you don't have the skills to build an organic following on social media, then you're not going to make it in the next season of the educator economy, all right? Now, despite the onslaught of AI hitting the algos over the past year or so, I've managed to 10x my audience on Instagram to over 80,000 followers. And not only have I used Instagram as the turbocharger to drive over 20,000 new leads in the past year, but some seriously cool shit has happened in the process. I mean, look, I'm a nobody, right? I ain't famous. And I have no intention to be. But by cracking the code of organic marketing after years of trying and flailing around like a fucking idiot, and now having an actual audience, not only have I 10x the size of my business, I've also been able to connect with some fucking cool people. I'm talking about folks I've been inspired with for years who've seen my content and they've ended up hitting me with a follow. Marketing icons like Russell Brunson, who taught me about the fundamentals of building an expert-led brand. I mean, I had breakfast with Ali Abdaal the other day in the Californian desert, who I first learned how to edit from back in 2020 when I was locked in my bedroom, and I took one of his courses on how to edit YouTube videos. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to be heading to Melbourne and I'm going to be sinking a few beers with the legend Tom Noski, who he helped elevate my video skills. So now my shit looks kind of professional. Cheers, mate. See you soon. And honestly, it's been mad to see the names of folks from the health and fitness space who I've admired for years. Legends like Matt Ogus, who first got me wanting to get shredded back in 2013. Ryan Fisher, who I bought his products years ago, and I told him that I ended up just screenshotting a load of his workouts. Still have them in a folder on my phone called Chalk Fitness. I told him I felt bad I stole them when I was broke. Don't do that. So now my WhatsApp is filled with chats with folks who 12 months ago were my heroes and now they're my mates. I've traveled all over the world this year and I've met many of them, and that is fucking sick. And it's the same for my client base, okay? My client Hugo, he's a photographer and he's grown his audience this year from 150K to over 800K this year. And in the process, he got followed by the president of his country, Finland. It's become crystal clear to me that building a social media following isn't about influence. It's not even about making money. Building a social media audience is about putting a beacon out into the universe, kind of like a bat signal, and attracting your true tribe into your world. The people who share true core values and a worldview with you. And guess what? When you do it properly, as I'm about to show you in this video, the money just figures itself out. Okay, so I know that you're here for the money gains, so I've got a gift for you. It's in the description box below. I've got a simple 3-day micro course. It's a 3-minute daily read straight into your inbox, breaking down all of the strategies that I've used to scale from 10K to 100K months in the past 18 months. Right, let's dive in. Okay, so the question is, how are we going to grow in 2026? Because guess what? AI killed cheap reach. So the future belongs to creators who fascinate, not flood feeds with AI-generated shite, okay? So as we kind of talked about, I think 2 episodes ago, we talked about the one simple flywheel model. This is the majestic growth stallion that you're going to ride to 7 figures per year, okay? So it starts with one simple post where we are going to fascinate and get attention. Then it moves over to educating that audience. We then simply invite them, we don't sell them. And then the last piece of the puzzle is we actually transform their lives. Okay, that is our one simple flywheel model, a simple system to get leads, drive customers, create clients, and then turn those clients into banger case studies, right? Simple model, and it's fucking sick. It's exactly what I've done to grow my business. Really just 10x it over the last year. And that's what I've done. So right now, as we are creating this video, I'm actually not making content on Instagram because my flywheel is working and I haven't needed to. So right now I'm at 81,000 followers. This hasn't been a growth year for me. I grew really well and really fast. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is how you can get that initial organic traction. But I found that once I built this system out, I haven't needed much amounts of fuel to keep it going, which is super cool. And the cool thing is this isn't just me, right? So this is a ton of my clients that I work with in Scale 20. Josh, he's just killed it this year, gone up 20,000 followers since January, which is insane, getting between 50 to 150 followers a day. Those are all potential conversations that you can start to potentially segue people into your offer. Hugo, who we're going to give some amazing examples of content that he makes, because in my opinion, he's one of the best in the world at this. So he's grown from, I think, around 150, 160, something like that, 1,000 followers at the start of this year. His goal, his big vision goal, was to get to 1 million followers. And right now, as of kind of end of November, he's just past 800,000 followers, which is absolutely insane. Yankari, who again started basically from scratch at the beginning of this year, he's grown to over 30,000 Instagram followers this year. He's collected 2,000 quality email subscribers with a high open rate. And he's also driven 2,000 YouTube subscribers at the same time. That is the one simple flywheel in motion. Same with Matisse. So, dude has just absolutely crushed it. I think as we stand, he's on like 22,000 followers. He's been trying to grow his social media audience on Instagram for ages and just really struggled to get traction. Now he's getting traction in just like most of the videos that he's posting. And yeah, he's up to 30,000. He's just been growing really, really fast. Again, like 50, 60 per day. Never had this form of engagement in the last 2 to 3 years. And the cool thing is, all these guys are doing exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. Okay, this is the one simple post formula, okay? First up, which platform are you going to choose? You just have to choose one. You are going to choose one short form platform and you are going to ride that beast to $100,000 a month. You are not going to fuck around like I did for years, trying to post on every single platform like Gary Vee was preaching about all those years and not getting any traction on any platform. We're going to focus on one. You are going to master one. Once you've mastered that and you've got to 7 figures a year, you can then think about moving on to other platforms. So I chose Instagram. This is my decision-making criteria for which platform to choose. So if you prefer making videos or you have a perfect future client that's younger than 50, go with Instagram. There's a lot of fucking people on Instagram, okay? Guess what? There's also a lot of fucking people on Facebook, all right? And a lot of them are typically older than 50. If your perfect future client is over the age of 50, or you prefer writing to making videos, then choose Facebook. And then LinkedIn, okay? LinkedIn also has a ton of people on. If you prefer writing, yeah, instead of making videos, go with that. Or if you have a professional or business related perfect future client, then go with LinkedIn, all right? Now, here's just a little heads up and just a reminder over here that everyone who is on LinkedIn also is on Facebook and Instagram, okay? Good luck finding someone who's on LinkedIn and hasn't got a Facebook or Instagram account, right? Just think about that for a second. Those are huge platforms. You have no need to go fishing in multiple pools. You just need to focus on one of these pools and crush it to 7 figures. They all work. It is all about the fundamental principles that we're going to talk about. Okay, so the short form game, you have one job when making content for short form platforms. You just got to stop people from scrolling. No matter whether you're on Instagram, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on LinkedIn, you've just got to stop the fucking scroll. So here's how you do it, okay? So there are 3 ways for you to stop people from scrolling, okay? The first is you just fascinate the hell out of them. You just say something that is like a what the hell is this person just said? So for me, a bold statement, something controversial, contrarian, something that might be a hot take, those are the best ways to fascinate. A simple one for me is like, here's why funnels are dead in 2026. That's kind of my main message, that I use flywheels instead of funnels, and that's worked really well for me. The second one is you talk about like what would happen if they continue on the path that they're already on, and you're giving them the alternative option and basically giving them FOMO. So you're giving them the fear of missing out by not changing to something else. So this is simple. Stop doing X and do this instead. This has been my most viral hook that I've used, and I've repeated it tons of times. This one has worked really well for me. Again, saying something contrarian, something thought-provoking, that's the best way to go for that hook. The third one is futures, talking about where the future lies. It's really simple. It's like, here's how to go from X to Y in 2026. This is what I've done to go from here to there, and these are all the steps that I've taken to do it. I also do this thing that I call authority jacking. And this is where you can hack scroll stopping by stealing authority from other famous, notable, credible thought leaders in your space. And it's by using the phenomenon of parasocial relationships. These are typically some of my most viral videos that I've made. So this is Daniel Priestley, absolute legend in the business coaching world. Again, this video just got loads of engagement, worked really well. This is Sabri Subi, who we'll talk about him a little bit more later on in this video. I've met him twice this year, and again, using his face to get lots of likes and stop people from scrolling because they're like, I know this person. They're not looking at me, they're looking at him. We've got Chris Do, the future. Again, used his content a bunch of times, always gets loads of engagements. Again, they're not looking at me, they're looking at Chris. And then this one has been an absolute banger for me over the last year or so. Seth Godin, one of the GOATs. Again, not looking at me, they're looking at Seth. But this has ended up getting a ton of engagement and frankly driven a ton of leads. So thank you to Seth, Chris, Sabri, and Daniel for helping me build my business. Next, it's important to understand that your audience members all have different levels of awareness. Some members of your audience don't even know that they have a problem. They are unaware that they are in pain or have problems at all. They are just ignorant to this. And your job is to craft content that helps narrow them down towards becoming a high ticket client down at the bottom. Now, I don't know why when I first came across the marketing levels of awareness, I can't remember the dude who made the book, but is it something Schwartz? Something like that. Anyway, the pyramid is kind of like a normal pyramid when it doesn't make any sense. There's more people who are going to be unaware than there are product aware. And so that's why I kind of like do it the other way around, like which makes sense because that is reflective of your actual market. It gets fewer and fewer people are going to know who you are, what your product is, and how you solve their problems. So in your market, we have people who are unaware, we have people who are problem aware, and our job is to get people from unaware to problem aware. And the way we do that is we make content that fascinates them. You know, this has been like Matisse, who we talked about earlier, has absolutely crushed it. He's done an amazing job at fascinating people and stopping people from scrolling by being like, this looks interesting. I was unaware that for Matisse, he specializes in helping people get jacked and ripped with kettlebells. So there's a lot of people who are unaware that you can actually just get ripped and jacked with just a kettlebell. You don't have to go to a gym. You can just do it on your balcony, which is where he makes most of his videos. So that is fascinating. The next is once people are kind of like finally aware that there's a problem, which is, okay, like I want to get jacked, I want to get ripped, then it's a case of educating that part of your audience so that they become aware of potential solutions. Alan over here is a business coach in Australia to electricians, sparkies, as he'll say. Hopefully he watches this, he's Irish. But yeah, his message to his audience is clicking it. I'm getting traction, it's all gluing, let's go. You will know when your messaging is starting to resonate because you will just feel it. You will feel it, you'll just see the numbers start to go up, everything will start to click. And this is when your flywheel really starts to get some momentum. And then next is we've just got to motivate, all right? We've got to motivate people who are aware of different solutions to be aware of your solution. How do we do this? Well, it goes back to the most important part of your one simple flywheel, which is sharing case studies like Taryn has done here. So sharing a case study, this was a 10K message that she received where someone just watched one of her case study interviews. Unbelievable. It works super, super well. And then finally, the tip of the spear for us is we just invite people to work with us. Like Dean over here. So Dean's a business coach, and as soon as he started working together, second sold from the offer doc with no sales calls today. So this shit works really well. So let's talk a little bit more about the types of content and what that looks like. So let's talk about fascination content. And this is about grabbing attention and leaning into winners. So what we're going to do is we're going to post a bunch of times, and we are then going to look back at which ones were the outliers, and then we're going to lean into making even more of the outliers. Then we need to educate our audience, and this is all about growing authority. And you do this by creating story selling and life posts. We'll give you some examples of this. And then motivate. We need to motivate action and then share proof. I found the best ways for me to do this is just through simple carousels, talking about case study wins, and then also sharing kind of behind the scenes, showing some B-roll of myself and my client events. Those work really, really well. You can do this with case study interviews, just getting people to see the actual process of working with you. Right, someone who's done this super well is Hugo this year. So Hugo is a photographer in Finland. We talked about him earlier. He's grown his audience to over 800,000. He is well on track to hit his 1 million followers goal. And I want to share some really key lessons with you here. So first up, let's talk about fascination content. As you will see, there are some themes here. He has found a format, and guess what? He is leaning into that winner, okay? You can see this here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 posts in 1, 2, 3, 4, in 18. So around a third of his content is going to be fascination content. Right, next up, we've got education content. Now, this is what I believe Hugo is elite at, okay? So he's a great person to go check out his content to see how he does it, but he tells stories in carousels about what he's up to. He educates his audience on his core philosophies, the way he does things differently to other photographers. He's educating them. He's always talking about his background, his journey, where he's going, what he's been on. He's telling stories all the time, and he's always teaching as well in his content. So you can see he's making a lot of education content, and he's really showing to his audience that he knows what he's talking about. And guess what? It's really compelling, and it's the reason why people follow him. And then finally, Hugo is awesome at motivation content, motivating people to be interested in working with him. You can see this is pinned on his profile. This is just a case study carousel. And here's the thing, like, you might be wondering like, okay, Hugo, he doesn't make any videos. He's a photographer. He just makes carousels. So he's done all of his business building through carousels. And so this is where you need to lean into what your preference is. And we're going to talk about that next. Okay, let's talk about the biggest mistakes that I've made. And frankly, this is where all of the lessons and shortcuts come from. I wish someone could have told me this stuff like years ago, because the truth was I was following advice of guys like Gary Vee, kind of mentioned it earlier, who I was hearing him talk about how you need to be posting on Instagram, you need to be posting on TikTok, you need to be posting on YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, LinkedIn, you need to be posting on all these platforms, and you need to be doing it 9 times a day. And what I missed, which I think he, frankly, because he hasn't done this, he hasn't started from scratch for a long time, and the social media game is completely different to what it was when he started making content like 15 years ago or whatever it was, that he doesn't understand how hard it is to start and how hard it is to get attention from scratch. And the number one mistake that I've made over the past couple of years was that I wasn't stealing ideas. In the beginning, when I was getting pretty low traction, so, a few hundred views per video, maybe 1,000 if I'm lucky. No, this was when I was just coming up with content off the dome. So I would be like, okay, here's an idea. And then I would just write what I thought was a good script for a video. I would just type it out. It would take me 15, 20 minutes. And then I was like, why are these videos not getting any traction ever? I thought I was showing up every day. I thought I was doing the things that I needed to do, but I wasn't. It was only when I started to steal, which we'll talk about in a second, that I started to get significant traction, like 700K, 300K, 300K. And frankly, I was like, building an audience all of a sudden becomes easy when you actually start to steal from people. And we'll talk about what stealing means in a second. Okay, so how can we steal? How can we find winning ideas? Because that's what it's about. It's not about taking what's won before and then just literally just repeating the same thing. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take the structure of what worked in that piece of content and then you're going to twist it into your own. A really simple tool to get started to do this, and an awesome tool, is SortFeed. I used to use something different last year called Viral Finder. This is way fucking better and way easier. And all this does is that it's a plugin on Chrome, and you can go to an Instagram account, I think maybe TikTok as well. I think you can do that. And all you do is literally just choose how you want to sort all of the content on someone's page, by likes, by comments, by views. I always go by engagement. So comments, I want to see what is the most engaging content that someone's made, and those are the winners that I'm going to steal from. Okay, so this is such an important part of the growing your audience game, that there are people who are selling services to just do research and ideation for people. In fact, I had a sales call with an agency who quoted me $3,000 per month to provide me with 4 YouTube ideas per month. And I asked them, I was like, does that include the thumbnail? And they were like, no, we'll give you some ideas for thumbnails, but you got to go create the thumbnail yourself. $3,000 per month. And really what they were doing was they were saving time. They were saving the hours that it takes to find winning ideas and turn them into your own. So what we've built is a system where our clients can literally just submit a form with creators that they want to steal from, and then we'll immediately provide them with all the information of the top performing videos, posts, whether it's on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. We will pull it for our clients and serve it to them in a simple spreadsheet where they've got the captions, they've got all of the key details, the scripts we pull as well, so they can literally pull the transcript from the videos and copyright it themselves. This has saved definitely at least 10 hours per month for me, and potentially, if you're basing it on the quote from that agency, I'm saving up to 36 grand a year on just ideation costs. And this is really cool because this works for our clients across Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. So we're pulling YouTube insights and research for our clients as well, which is super sick. And on that note, if you are a 6-figure business educator already and you want to scale to 7 figures, DM me 77 on Instagram and I'll send you the invite to join us in Scale 20. Okay. All right. Next up, and this is something that trips so many people up. This is just not being a professional, not being consistent in format and style, length, posting frequency, posting time, and then the actual content itself. When I went professional, I kind of went pro, I picked a style and a format that I really liked. And all of a sudden I was consistent. I showed up every single day and I did the same types of videos again and again and again. And I finally got traction. So what an amateur looks like, which is me over here, it's shit show formatting, different formats. Every single fucking post looks like an absolute idiot. So when someone comes to this page and they're like, okay, should I trust this person? The immediate answer is no, because there is no consistency in the way they're showing up. Now, you might be looking at someone like Alex Hormozy and be like, well, his stuff isn't consistent. You know who he is. Everyone knows who he is. You are not Alex Hormozy yet. And so your face doesn't have that same level of trust. If you are a randomer on the internet, you have to show people that you can be trustworthy. Now, one of the biggest mistakes that I've made and some of my clients have made is that they have an incongruent style with what they love to make. And so this is Richard. So he helps dentists just crush it in life, get shredded, and then become complete warriors. He's a professional. He's been making podcasts for a long time, so he has professional gear. But when we got him on short form content, he was making videos like mine. He was making talking head videos like mine. And there was a huge amount of resistance that he found when he was trying to make these videos. He wasn't being able to be consistent. He wasn't enjoying it. It just didn't feel good. And so what happened was he found a format to master based on the style that he enjoys consuming. So he started making content he liked consuming, and all of a sudden starting to get shitloads of traction with his content because he chose a style based on some other creators that he had seen, not me. And this was stuff that he liked, and he's been absolutely fucking crushing it because he chose a style that he enjoys to consume, and he's now being consistent. And what he's done is he's brought down the barrier to entry. He's only posting 3 days a week because he knows that is the cadence that he can show up really consistently at. And so if you want to go pro, you need to have professional gear. Like, Richard's videos look fucking cinematic when, you watch them on Instagram. They look insane. And you can see with me over here, this was a big shift compared to what that looked like. Like, that is a shit show. That is not professional. That is an amateur. And that is professional, consistent. When someone lands on my profile and they scan my feed and they're looking through posts, they're immediately thinking, oh shit, this guy shows up every day. He's consistent and he knows what he's talking about. And that is why people will hit you with a follow. Okay, the third biggest mistake is not learning how to copyright. What do I mean by copywriting? Well, what I've done in hindsight is I've made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos by literally writing the scripts out myself. I believe script writing and writing posts out yourself is the single most important and highest ROI skill that you will ever learn, without a doubt. Because if you can learn how to write, learn how to tell a story, learn how to hook attention, learn actually how to get people interested in the stuff that you've got to say, that is a skill that will pay you forever. So mistake number one is actually getting scripts from someone else that isn't you, from an agency, from a social media manager, from whatever. You need to be the one writing them. And then mistake number two is not putting in the reps to learn how to write and script compelling copy. So it's really simple. Like I said, I've shown you our automation. We get the transcripts, and then all I do is I take them into Notion. I put them into Notion, and then underneath the transcript that I've got from the video that I'm taking inspiration from, I type my version out. So it doesn't copy it, but it copies the format. It is the simplest way to learn how to write compelling copy. It's just copying and turning it into your version. I've done it hundreds of times, and that's why I can now make content that goes viral on repeat. And this is an example. So one of my favorite creators, a guy called Brian Mark, absolute legend. I saw him make this video the other day on ManyChat, and it had a lot of engagement, and I was like, I'll have some of that. And so I made my version, and I ended up getting more engagement than him, which is super cool. I think ended up getting like over 1,000 leads from that one video. I just copied his format. I didn't keep it exactly the same as him. I turned it into my own version. Okay, so what are the longest levers to get organic traction? So the first up is you got to just pick one format to master, okay? Talking head videos, carousel posts that work on like every single platform. Then you got to invest in professional gear, okay? I've got in the link below, you can access my YouTube Accelerator course. It's completely free. It's in my free Skool community called Scale, and it has got my entire gear list. It's got all of this gear that I use. You can just get it for free. The link is in the description. You then need to hire an editor or a designer. If you're doing carousels, hire a designer. If you're doing videos, hire an editor. Then you need to research winning ideas. Need to find winning ideas from people. Don't make it off the dome, all right? Steal the hook and then twist the rest, all right? So steal the first couple of sentences and get it as close to that original as possible. Then you're just going to make it a twist on the rest, right? Super simple. The way I do this is like 30-30-30. 30% fascinate, 30% educate, 30% motivate, okay? So that's the kind of like split of content that I'm aiming to make in my content planning. And then learn to copyright by putting in hundreds of reps. This is the secret. The secret is you just need to do it shitloads of times. Okay, so the final piece of the puzzle is the mindset. It always comes down to mindset, right? So I get asked this question all the time, especially by my clients, how long does it take to get traction? That isn't the question to ask. You need to just make 100 posts, and then you need to ask yourself, what did I learn? Which posts were outlier performers? Make more of those, okay? Simple. One simple post, done. Right, let's wrap this up with the game plan for you to grow a social media audience in 2026. So first up, you're just going to pick a platform, all right? Same rules apply on any platform. It doesn't matter which one you pick. You saw how to pick at the beginning of this video. You're going to pick a style and a format that you like to consume, okay? You're going to get professional gear. You can get it all for around $2,000 if you're doing videos, and you're going to hire a professional to help with either editing if you're doing videos or with design if you're doing carousels, and that can cost you about $500 to $2,000 a month. You're going to find winning ideas. Spend the time that you've saved by getting someone to do the editing and the creation for you, and reinvest that time into finding winning ideas. That's all I did. That's when everything just completely went turbocharged, was when I first hired my editor, and then I had enough time to research and ideate winning ideas. You're going to steal the hook, and you're going to twist the rest into your own post, okay? Super simple. You're going to steal authority. You're going to authority jack thought leaders from your space, and you're going to hack scroll stopping by doing that. You're going to commit to 100 daily posts, same time of day, same day of week, same format, same style, same lengths. And then the final piece of the puzzle, which if you haven't got to 20K per month yet, you're not going to fucking bother with this, but you're going to highlight outliers and you're going to amplify them to your existing audience to achieve effective omnipresence. And if you're wondering what the fuck that means, that's for a future video. Right, team, another banger in the bank. Okay, in the next video in this series, we're talking about effortless enrollment into your micro education business. We're talking about the most powerful component of the one simple flywheel, creating insane amounts of leverage with a micro cult brand. So you end up getting loads of daily inbound inquiries to work with you. If that video's out, you can watch it here now, but if not, I'll throw up another banger for you to watch in the meantime. Right, that was sick. See you in the next one.